So I've just completed a half Ironman, and here's the things that I would do differently. Welcome back to Tush Trains, and in today's video I'm going to go over what I would have done differently for my half Ironman. So just a quick recap of what actually happened during the half Ironman. So my swim was actually cancelled. I know I was absolutely gutted after training a year for it straight. Just having it cancelled was terrible. I really did not like that one bit. I actually did turn up in my wetsuit in hopes that they would just say the swim would be going ahead, but it didn't happen, so that's that. But anyway, for my bike portion, I got 3 hours 9 minutes and 28 seconds. For T2 I got 7 minutes 36 seconds because it was absolute chaos. I had to run to the bathroom in my cleats, so it was quite difficult. For my run I was cramping up, but I did manage to get 1 hour 54 minutes and 24 seconds. So now let's go over the things that I would have done differently. So for my pre-race nutrition, what did I do? I had a pizza carb load. So specifically Texas barbecue pizza from Domino's. I find that to work extremely well for my system. For some reason I just end up really quick and I can go for long distances, so the pizza carb load was really good. I managed to have bagels, most other things too, like I don't know, pastries and stuff like that. Also I didn't have it with any filling, mind you, because that's really bad on the stomach, so I just had them plain. Before the race I trained with my nutrition, so this was my specific gels, the specific carb mix that I have from High Five, and electrolytes. So I have these electrolyte tablets that dissolve into drink, and I tried out all of them to make sure they were okay with my stomach. I checked all of the gear and ensured real good comfort. If you're going for long distances, comfort is the main thing, and the main thing also is to know that your gear works. So test it out. I mean, leave it till as late as possible just to find out if it's actually working. Check things beforehand too, but you have to keep checking on them. Don't just be like, oh yeah, I've checked this already 2 weeks or a month prior, it will be fine. You have to periodically check on things. Another essential thing was the bike fit and the service. I can recommend a guy in Berkhamsted. He's a great guy. He knows exactly what he's doing. I think it's called Venture Performance. So if you go and type that in at Berkhamsted, he'll be able to help you out. His name is Doug. Then also a bike service. There is a guy called Dennis, and he's a great bike mechanic. I'm meaning like he's really good, one of the best. So Dennis is based actually in Watford, so if you live close to Watford or you can drive there, he is one of the most knowledgeable mechanic and knows how these bikes work. So if you have a tri bike, road bike, gravel bike, anything, mountain bike, he will know exactly what to do and he will sort you out. For my next time in thinking about before the race and nutrition, I would start with electrolytes way sooner. Like, I mean, not just leave it till the day of the race morning, but I would have them the day before and the day before that too, just to make sure my body was okay with that amount of load. I would have to spread the carbs more evenly throughout the day. I actually did not eat anything, like anything properly at least. I completely forgot because I was going too crazy on the bike. I literally put all of my effort and my power on the bike, which did sabotage me for later, but I'll go into that after. Practice eating and drinking on your bike. So the part where you would actually want to do most of your eating and drinking is sat on your bike. That is literally the best period of time where you can just eat all of your stuff, have your nutrition, and go through the motions with that. So make sure you can actually eat your stuff on your bike or drink your stuff on your bike, because if you have to stop, it will get tedious. Trust me, I know, because I still have yet to figure out how to eat things and drive my bike at the same time. In regard to your wetsuit, there is something called chamois butter, chamois butter or chamois butter or something like that. I get these little sachets. So there we go. This is the chamois butter or chamois butter, however you say it. But these come in little sachets that you can literally put into your transition bag. You can put into your bike bag and wherever else you might need it. So I would say have this stuff and put that underneath your tri-suit. I would put this on my neck, on the areas where I would breathe. So I breathe to my right, then I would put loads, I would lather loads on here, and I would lather loads in my groin area because you definitely need that for your bike. Another thing is the streetwear bag in the Ironmans is completely optional. So if you do want to stay in your tri-suit after the race, you can, but let me just warn you right here. I chose not to use the streetwear bag, and that was the biggest mistake I could have made. Make sure to actually pack some warm clothes, especially if the weather conditions are not great. Use your streetwear bag and put some clothes in, put some really warm warm clothes in so that you won't be suffering after, because I was probably about to go into shock or something. I had to get this metal foil blanket put around me, and it was chucking it down with rain. As soon as I was lining up for transition, I was just like a poor little goblin in the corner suffering. Just make sure to use that streetwear bag. Some points to make is fuel with gels and electrolytes really early on. I cannot stress that enough. I mean, I don't take my own advice when it comes to this stuff, but it's just something I want to reiterate to you guys and reiterate to myself. Just fuel early on. You want to fuel essentially every 30 minutes, not every hour. I chose every hour for a stupid reason. I was just thinking I want to get most of my race done and then I can fuel, but that's not the right idea. You actually want to fuel every half an hour. Now going on to the swim, unfortunately for me the swim was cancelled and all of that training just came to nothing in the end. So apparently the swim was cancelled due to some type of sewage leak. They did say the conditions were quite rough, but I highly doubt that. I mean, I went in the morning and looked at the sea and it looked a-okay. So during my training I swam 2 to 4k swims only, and I just did them completely non-stop. At first I did have to take breaks every 500 meters, 200 meters or so, but then I got to the point where I could just swim long distances and not stop whatsoever. I felt ready for the whole distance, mind you. I felt ready for the whole distance, but there are some things that I would do next time differently. So for my swimming, just to be prepared, I would actually do drills and intervals to improve technique and speed. Now drills and intervals are actually very crucial things to work on, because you want to be satisfactory by the time you get in and do the race. You have to include these things because drills will help with your technique and intervals will help with your speed. Practice sighting and drafting. Now that's one that I did not take into account. So sighting is basically like you're taking your strokes normally, and you're looking directly down at the water. So when you do this every 5 or 6 strokes, you are going to want to actually look where you're going, because the problem is when you're in open water, it's much different than the pool. You can't actually see anything. So you could be literally going out far, very far, and you wouldn't even know it unless you actually look up for a second and then continue on. So be sure to practice sighting. Now drafting is another one, but drafting you will find quite hard to actually practice because you need to actually join some type of tri club or some type of open water swimming club, or you just need to go to an open water swim place and practice it beside somebody who already knows what they're doing, and try not to piss them off too. If you're drafting, you're going to be very close to their legs. If they do a 2-beat kick, then it will be perfectly fine to follow them, but if they are just flapping about and stuff, you might get knocked out in the water. So just be careful of that and try to practice before the race. You also need to practice swimming in the lake, swimming in the pool, and swimming in the sea, because these are very different conditions. When you're swimming in a lake, you don't have that added buoyancy of swimming in the sea from the salt water. Swimming in a lake, it might just slow you down, but you would actually know what to target. Say for instance, your body position in the water, you would know exactly what to target. So you know that the sea adds buoyancy, so if you do really good on the sea, then it might just be your body position that needs some work. But yeah, recommend doing drills just to find that out too. Also, don't spend all of your time in the pool. I'm very guilty of this. I love going to the pool because it has a steam and it has a sauna and it's really nice and comfortable, but you have to go out there and actually do things that are uncomfortable, like swimming in very, very cold water, because you need to actually have cold water adaptation and you need to be okay with those cold shocks that you'll have. Quit vaping is another one. So I wish I quit vaping a long time prior to doing this race. I still vape just for now, but that's because I've quit most things like smoking and drugs and all of those things. Don't vape. That is my #1 answer to everything, because coughing in the pool is not fun and coughing in open water is not fun, and you could as well drown. If some wave hits your face and you're just timing your breath and you've already coughed out, you'll get a panic coming on, and that's not ideal. So some points are for the swim is to put chamois butter on your neck and your groin area, and if you're going to the swim, then have your wetsuit rolled down just like below your waist, and then you can put something warm after and then put your wetsuit on until the swim is confirmed basically. In transition 1 from my swim to bike, I had a gel before T1, so just before going to T1 I grabbed the gel from my belt, had the gel real quick and stuffed it in my tri-suit. I applied some chamois butter butter really fast because this is an area where you do need to actually work very methodically. Put the camel butter on, wipe it down, get your feet dried, especially you don't want to be having wet feet while doing any of these activities. So wipe your feet, get your cleats, helmet, and if you use gloves, get the gloves on too. Next time around, I'll probably be one of the first people to go to the loo or the toilet, because by the time you've done everything, the line for the toilet will be so massive and you'll literally miss out. So make sure you are the first to get to the toilet if you do need to go. You need to practice transitions too. So the night before, what I did was literally sleep, and I thought to myself before sleeping, what am I going to do? When I get into the transition, I pick up my bag. Which items am I going to grab first? What am I going to do? How am I going to put them in order? So for the bike portion, I had no fuel whatsoever. During that first hour, I thought to myself, oh, it would probably be a good thing to get ahead of people while I still can. So for the first hour, I was completely pumping it non-stop, and that led to something really bad. So my legs actually cramped on the last hill. I had about, I think, 15 kilometers left, and my legs started to cramp really bad. And if you clip out of your clips, you're essentially going to fall down a hill. So it's best not to do that either. And I just worked with it. I just literally worked with the pain and started to keep ripping on my bicycle and trying to get myself up the hill. But for next time, I will have to include hill and elevation training. So I'm going to do a lot more hill and elevation training. FTP sessions to build power. Prior to doing this race, I only had one FTP session because I wanted to find out what my FTP was, but these FTP sessions help to build power. So make sure to do a lot of them before the race, maybe 3 or 4. Aero position practice. Being in the aero position is not as easy as people make it out. People are whizzing past you with this type of position on the bike, and they have their aero shoulder rests just like this. They're holding it and they're pumping on the pedals. It's really hard. It's actually really hard to learn how to balance yourself. If you're not a biker or you're not a cyclist and you don't know how to balance yourself properly on a bike, then it can be really tedious to learn. So do be sure to practice those aero positions, and I don't mean with a turbo trainer on Zwift, I mean actually outdoors, because there is going to be bumps in the road. The roads can be uneven and you need to practice for it all. You need to learn how to stabilize yourself in that aero position. Again, you would want nutrition every 30 minutes, so this includes gel, carb mix, and electrolytes. Those 3 will literally be your saving grace while doing the bike portion. Earlier on, what you would want to do is you would want to downshift on the hills. Don't be afraid of going too slow, so don't stand up on the hills and just start pumping your legs, because that will gas your legs out. One person actually came behind me and he held my back and allowed me to select a lower gear. Whoever you are, you're a fucking hero. Thank you so much. But yeah, this guy was absolute stand-up champ. He helped me to select a lower gear while I was trying to go up the hill. So thank you for that. But yeah, you would want to not gas your legs out when you go up the first, second, third hill. Your legs want to be in really good condition when you're going up that last hill. So for my transition 2, which was the bike to run, there was chaos everywhere. I mean, it's always chaos when you get into transition. People are leaping over benches and stuff. They're running in their cleats and there's puddles everywhere if it's raining and stuff. So what I did when I got into transition is the 2 gels that were remaining in my belt, I downed those gels real quick, shoved them in my tri-suit, and just kept on going. For next time, I will know to stay calm and focus on the things that I can control. There will be people bumping into you, there will be a lot going on, but you just focus on the things that you can control. Another one is that I won't skip aid stations so easily. Do not skip those aid stations because you will really need them. Now on the run portion, it took me quite long, 1 hour 54 minutes, and that's quite bad. I'm not that happy with the run, but I was happy with the bike. Now what did I do wrong on the run? It was literally because I skipped every aid station that there was on the first lap. So there was 2 laps and I skipped every aid station. I thought it would probably be best to get ahead. I did the exact same thing I did on the bike, so that was not a good idea. So I had no nutrition on the first lap and the cramps hit hard on the second lap. So after the first lap, that's when the cramps just really settled in and my legs were like voltage stuck in them, and they were just stuck, and I was moving my hips and shoulders but my legs wouldn't work. So next time, what I would do to combat that is do longer breaks. I would do a 3 to 4 hour bike and a 1 to 2 hour run straight after, and I would probably do that every week or every 2 weeks. electrolytes at every single aid station. Make sure to have those electrolytes and make sure to have those carbs. Having gels every 30 minutes can really save you. I mean, there was one girl that saw me suffering on the last lap and she literally handed me 2 gels like this, albeit they were nasty tasting gels, but I just downed them straight and got on with it. Thank you, girl, whoever you are, thank you so much. You saved me. Now for the training changes I would make. I would literally do more hill training for both the bike and the run. I would do swim intervals and drills and more sighting. So even whilst I'm in the pool, I don't need to sight. I would probably just still go ahead and include it every 5 or 6 strokes. Open water sessions too. I only had about 3 open water sessions before I decided to do this. So I would probably say do a lot more. Try to get in 1 open water session every week or 2. That would be most ideal. You want to do a lot of bike FTP sessions, so don't just do them immediately. You would actually want to try get some progress, so build some aerobic endurance, build some power, and then try do a FTP after and see if it's gone up. Aero position training too, that was vital, literally vital when you needed the speed on the bike. People had the aero position and they were a lot more aerodynamic. Tended to do for the whole bike portion is I literally put my hands on my handlebars and I went down like this so that I would be fast, and I put my head first and I wasn't really looking straight, which is extremely dangerous. So don't do that. And the final thing is long bricks for tired legs. You need to do longer brick sessions just to find out whether you will be cramped and where your limits are. Anyway, that's all for today. Thank you for coming to my talk and I'll see you on the next one.